Hello everyone, welcome back to the second part of our NIST 2.0 series. In this video, we will talk about what is new with the cybersecurity framework. Alright, so let's start with a big question. Is your organization NIST 2.0 compliant? How do you know what's right for your organization? Where should you look into that information? The thing is, compliance isn't about ticking boxes. It's about understanding your unique business requirements, assessing the risk, and ensuring that your security practices are aligned with this new framework. So, are you asking the right question? Are you looking at the right category within NIST 2.0? In next 30 minutes, we'll start with the high-level architecture and components of the new cybersecurity framework, then moving on to the significant changes like addressing the new govern function or exploring how some categories have been realigned or split into different functions. So let's start by discussing the overall framework, understanding the architecture of NIST 2.0. If you've been following this series, you must be aware of the primary concepts of the security framework, that is the core, tiers, and profiles from our last video. So, the core outlines the key cybersecurity activities and outcomes. The tiers help you figure out how mature your organization's cybersecurity efforts are. And lastly, the profile lets you customize the framework to meet your specific business requirements, which is super flexible. However, there's a significant change with the addition of a new function called govern. This edition is all about helping organization start off on the right foot with their risk management strategy. It helps ensure that security expectations or policies are effectively established, communicated, and monitored. It's really designed to bring more structure and clarity to the planning process. And as I mentioned earlier, a new framework called Govern has been added, bringing the total number of functions from 5 to 6. Now the number of categories within these functions have actually decreased. It went from 23 down to 22, as some of them have been merged or realigned. For instance, the identify function, which used to have like 6 categories, now has only 3 because some of its categories have shifted over to new govern function. And to make things even simpler, the number of subcategories has also been reduced slightly, going from 108 to 106. These adjustments make the framework easier to implement. And in this video, we are going to walk through each function and highlight the updated categories in detail. So let's map the categories in governance for better understanding. In NIST 1.1, govern was just a category under the identify function. So why with NIST 2.0, govern has been marked as its own function? Because the role of key stakeholders in shaping the risk management strategies has become even more critical. So, what does this mean in practice? The govern function now has 6 categories, many of which were pulled from the identify function in the previous version. Let's map the categories for better understanding. The concept of business environment, which helps an organization understand its operational landscape, is now covered under organizational context. The risk management strategy and supply chain risk category. They have stayed the same but now moved under the govern from identify. Asset management, another vital category, is now included in roles, responsibilities, and authorities under govern. Finally, governance has been divided into key areas: risk management strategy, roles and responsibilities, policy, and oversight, which helps to ensure that there's a clear structure of managing risk and security expectations within your organization. So let's break down the 6 categories of governance so you can see how each one plays a crucial role in your cybersecurity strategy. First up, we have organizational context. This category helps you understand what are your organizational security goals, what are the stakeholders' expectations, what are the dependencies and legal requirements. It is divided into 5 subcategories to help you identify your organization's capabilities and expected outcomes, which is the key for making informed and compliant cybersecurity decisions. Next is the risk management strategy. This is all about making sure your risk management aligns with your organization's objectives. For example, your organization wants to expand its service but must balance that with the cybersecurity risk. It has 7 subcategories, which defines your risk priorities, tolerance, and appetite. And make sure these are communicated and monitored within your organization. Then we have roles, responsibilities, and authorities. This is about clearly defining who is responsible for cybersecurity, what roles they have, and what authority they possess. There are 4 subcategories that help ensures everyone on the same page and highlights that leadership is not only about responsibility but also accountability for the security risk. Moving on, we have policy. This category helps your organization establish cybersecurity policies like cryptographic controls and standards. It's divided into 2 subcategories. Oversight. This category helps you ensure that your organization regularly reviews its cybersecurity standards, including the cryptographic controls, and adjusts the risk management approach accordingly. It has 3 subcategories that supports continuous improvement. And finally, we have supply chain risk management. This one is all about helping your security or IT team manage risk in the cybersecurity supply chain. It is broken down into 10 subcategories, with the first one emphasizing on the importance of having a solid strategy and process to manage supply chain risk. For example, if you're partnering with a new vendor, ensuring they meet your cybersecurity standards is important. The second subcategory focuses on ensuring clear communication of roles and responsibilities across all parties, whether they are suppliers, customers, or partners. And from third to 10th focuses on integrating these processes into your overall risk management framework, which ensures the due diligence, contract management, and constant monitoring of risk throughout the supply chain. This also includes making sure that suppliers and third parties are part of your incident response and recover plans. Now, if your organization is already compliant with NIST 1.1, you might recognize a few categories in NIST 2.0. There are a lot of core concepts which remains the same. However, we'll talk about some important changes and additions to keep in mind as you work with NIST 2.0 framework. The table breaks down these cybersecurity pillars by purpose, total category, and total subcategory. First up is identify. This function helps your organization understand what your cybersecurity risks are and how to prioritize them. It's all about knowing where you stand and what you need to focus on. In total, we have 3 categories and 22 subcategories to help you map out these risks. Think of it as laying the groundwork for a solid cybersecurity strategy. Okay, next up, we have protect. This function is all about how to secure your assets, reducing the cybersecurity threats, and enhancing resilience. With 4 categories and 22 subcategories, it helps you understand how are you currently protecting your valuable assets. Now, let's talk about detect. The purpose here is to identify and analyze potential cybersecurity attacks for timely incidents, response, and recovery. There are 2 categories and 11 subcategories to help you detect any threat early. It helps to understand what security measures are in place to keep an eye on potential incidents. Next up, we have respond. This function is about taking actions on detected cybersecurity incidents, containing their impact, and managing your response activities. With 4 categories and 12 subcategories, it's essential to effectively handle the incident management. How prepared is your team to respond when an incident occurs? Finally, we have recover. The goal of this function is to restore your assets and operations quickly after a cybersecurity incident. It minimizes the impact and ensures communication. With 2 categories and 8 subcategories, recovery is all about resilience. It helps to understand what steps do you have in place to bounce back after an incident. So let's map out the categories in each function, starting with the identify function. So improvement is not exactly the new category in the framework. Improvement was previously part of respond and recover function, but now it has moved to the identify function. This shift shows how important it is to find areas for improvement as part of your risk management plan. Think of improvement as a way to help your organization get stronger in security. It guides you on how to do assessments and audits to find areas that need a little work. Now let's see how this idea connects to parts from all functions. First, we start with the information protection process from the protect function. For example, if you're using encryption to secure sensitive data, the improvement process ensures that your encryption methods remain effective and compliant with the latest standards. Okay, and next we have the detection process from the detect function. This highlights how important it is to find problems quickly so you can fix them before they become big issues. Finally, we come back to the idea of improvement itself from the respond and recover function. This brings everything together, helping your organization learn and grow from every incident or assessment. So next is protect function. Let's talk about identity management, authentication, and access control, which builds on what was previously known as identity management and access control in the protect function. So the significant addition here is authentication, which is derived from new protective technologies, ensuring that only the right people can access important information. For example, your organization may have secure certificate management and key management practices in play. When a new user joins, their identity is verified right at the start. Why is this so important? Think about how often we hear about unauthorized access attempts. Having strong authentication practices can significantly reduce these risks. Additionally, setting rules for passwords and PINs ensures that only authorized personnel can access sensitive data, keeping your organization safer. Another important aspect of this category is segregation of duties and roles, meaning clearly defining who can access what in your organization's security policy. It's important to limit access to sensitive areas based on someone's role. By clearly stating who has access to what, you create a safer environment and significantly reduce the risk. So, platform security is a new category introduced in the protect function. And while it's new, it builds on previous concepts like information protection process, maintenance, and protective technology. This category consists of six subcategories that focus on how your organization can maintain strong cryptographic configurations, which serves as foundation of your cybersecurity strategy. It's important to regularly update both your software and hardware to effectively manage the cybersecurity risk. This is important because if sensitive data is being logged, it should not just sit there unprotected. It needs to be encrypted and monitored regularly. For example, having valuable information like customer credit card stored without proper security protocols that could lead to serious consequences. By implementing strong platform security practices, your organization can significantly reduce the risk of unauthorized access and data breaches, ensuring that the right protection are in place so you can focus on your core business without worrying about cybersecurity threats. Next up is technology infrastructure and resilience, a new category in the protect function that builds on earlier areas like data security, information process, and protective technology. This category focuses on two main ideas using a zero trust architecture and ensuring resilience. A zero trust architecture means checking everyone before giving access, just like having a guard at door who asks for identity. This way, you can prevent unauthorized access and keep your organization safe. Resilience is about making sure there is no single point of failure. For example, if you have only one server and it breaks, your whole system can crash. By having enough backup resources, this category helps keep your system running smoothly even when something goes wrong. Next is detect function. Next up is adverse event analysis, which brings together two categories from detect function, anomalies and events. Along with the detection process, this category has eight subcategories that help your organization spot and understand security threats like brute force attack by continuously watching and checking logs. Think of it as having a lookout that keeps an eye on everything happening in your system. By gathering information from different sources, your organization can see the bigger picture, figure out how serious these threats actually are, and how quickly you can let the right people know. This way, you can respond better to potential threats and make sure everyone is informed and ready to take action when needed. Next up is response function. The categories within response function have been given new names to make things clearer. Instead of just analysis, we now have incident analysis, which gives a more direct idea of what's happening. Then there's communication, which has evolved into incident response reporting and communication, which emphasize the importance of keeping everyone in loop during a crisis. Lastly, mitigation, which is now simply incident mitigation. So, in the event of a cybersecurity attack, incident management is crucial because it ensures that a response plan kicks into action to protect your organization's sensitive data. When an incident occurs, it's carefully assessed to determine how serious it is. Each incident is categorized based on its type and prioritized accordingly. This means that your organization can tackle the most critical threats first, ensuring a smooth and effective response to any cybersecurity challenge. Lastly, we have recovery function. While no new categories have been added here, some previous ones have been renamed for clarity. For instance, recovery planning is now called incident recovery plan execution, which makes it clear that we are executing a plan to get back on track. Similarly, communication has been updated to incident recovery communication, emphasizing the importance of keeping everyone informed during the recovery process. So the concept of improvement, which was part of both response and recovery functions, has now shifted over to identify function. And we have already talked about it, that this reflects a more strategic approach to identifying areas for improvement before incident occurs. Overall, this function guides your organization on how to bounce back from a cybersecurity incident. It's about ensuring that your backups are intact and verifying that systems are safe to use before bringing them back online. The focus is on restoring essential functions in the right order and double checking that, okay, everything is working correctly. It helps your organization return to business as usual with more confidence. So lastly, we learned about the key function of NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, focusing on how implementing these functions within your organization can help you better manage the cybersecurity risk and ensure a strong defense mechanism. And in the next video, we will discuss about a guide or a roadmap on how your organization can migrate to the new framework. Thank you.